if there are any Hollywood producers who are looking for the perfect location to film a boarded-up urban wasteland, they may not need to look any further than their own back door. Because the areas surrounding the Laurel and Valley Plaza malls in North Hollywood have become, in the words of one Los Angeles City Councilman, an economic black hole. It's very difficult to imagine it today, but these malls used to be considered amongst the finest, most successful, and most influential malls in the entire United States. But growing competition from other malls and damage from the 1994 Northridge earthquake delivered devastating blows to this area from which it has yet to recover. And although it is surrounded within a few miles on all sides by successful retail shopping centers, the Valley and Laurel Plaza malls sit empty, forgotten, abandoned. At the Laurel Plaza Mall, all that remains is a Macy's department store. There used to be an entire mall attached to it, but it was torn down after the earthquake.
This is desolate. It's even more desolate across the street where everything's boarded up.
I think too much red tape and procedural type things really slow things down.
It's the bombed out zone here. It's just terrible.
And there were just a lot of label scars, and so there was nothing really to visit.
And now it's sort of, it's a little depressing. It seems like a huge waste of space.
Store after store is empty and boarded up with for sale or for lease signs out front. But there's of course the VIP Gentlemen's Club. Near the Sears there is a parking ramp, 5 full stories. On a recent Sunday, there was not a single car parked in the entire ramp. After the second floor, the ramp was closed off. There would be no need for anyone to ever travel any higher. But the elevator still works, and it takes you all the way to the top, to the roof of the parking ramp, where you can look out, and if you squint your eyes, you can almost look back and imagine and see what it used to be like when it was one of the most influential malls in the history of the United States. There have been many attempts through the last 15 years to revive the Valley Plaza Mall. Most recently, developer J.H. Snyder planned a $330 million renovation of the entire area. But Snyder scrapped those plans in April and sold the land back to iStar. What will come next now is anyone's guess. The Valley Plaza Mall was built in 1951 by developer Bill Simmons. In 1958, the May Company moved into Laurel Plaza Mall, 3 blocks away. Together, the two malls were extremely revolutionary. They were amongst the first malls ever to be built in the suburbs, and Valley Plaza Mall was one of the first outdoor malls ever built west of the Mississippi. But what truly made them revolutionary is that they are considered perhaps the first mall to be built with the automobile in mind. Until Valley and Laurel Plazas, department stores were always built near urban downtown centers where street traffic would be significant. And the buildings towered over customers built right on the boulevards. There was little thought given to parking because few people in the urban centers drove, let alone to the department store. Why drive when you could walk? It was right up the street. Simmons saw a new America emerging, one that wanted the speed of a car and the convenience of ample parking. According to author Richard Longstreth, who wrote the book City Center to Regional Mall, the Valley and Laurel Plaza malls were built not with the main concern being which boulevards they were going to be near, but which freeways. The Hollywood, Ventura, and San Fernando freeways were not yet built when the mall opened in 1951, but plans for them were in place. Over the next 20 years, those freeways were built, and with the wonderful parking provided at the May Company and at the Valley Plaza Mall, a golden era was underway.
It's an exciting place, and it had that feel of what old-time department stores had that you see in the movies. And it was a great place. Of course, from here across the street, we have the Sears Mall and that other mall and the movie theaters. It was just it was a family place, it was a busy place, it was a hangout place, and it was very busy, and it really was the center of this part of town.
Valley Plaza, back in the 50s and the 60s, from what I understand from friends and family, was an exciting place to be, especially we lived and were growing up in North Hollywood. There was a supermarket there were shoe stores, C's Candies, there was a place to go get your nails done, there were movie theaters, there was even a park, and it was a bucolic place to hang out.
My name's Jack McGrath, and I've been here a long time. I've came here in 1948. When I say here, meaning Studio City. We had a family of 6 kids, 2 sets of twins. My mom and dad were in the Arthur Murray dance business. So this was our stomping ground. The whole area here, North Hollywood, wasn't called NoHo then, and Studio City. But this was, the Sears lot here was where my family, because we weren't that well to do, we shopped here a lot. And my mother took us here to get all of our clothes, and never forget, there had to be, I would say, 2,000 people in the parking lot here. Flatbed truck, could have been Pat Brown, the governor, who is the head of the party in California that introduced him. I don't recall that. But I was no more than where we are to where that car is, maybe 15 feet. He was again up on the flatbed truck. I was amazed because this man, first of all, was absolutely handsome. More important, he had the best looking tan I have ever seen on a man or a politician. He looked down, there was as many women there as men, and the women were googly, looking at this fella. His brother, RFK, Robert Kennedy, could have been here also, I don't recall. But I looked down, he had the best talking style. He looked down at every person he looked at, he looked straight at him, and he told a couple of jokes, and I don't remember what he talked about, because I was starstruck.
This parking lot is huge, and the reason it's huge is because it was designed for a giant mall that isn't around anymore. And so Macy's doesn't need the parking way out here, even in the holidays. But there was still at Laurel Plaza a food park, an ice skating rink. I believe they had one of those great waterfalls that made it, the water was actually going up, but made it look like it was coming down. It was a big attraction in those days. It was a great place to date when you were 13, 12, 14, 15 years old. It was not a huge mall, but it came way out into the parking lot. It was right there attached to Macy's, which was May Company, and it was a great mall.
One of the most popular attractions was the Ice Capade Chalet, partly because it was the only ice skating rink in the entire East San Fernando Valley. There are now several Facebook fan pages dedicated to people who have fond memories of skating at the Ice Capade Chalet. In 1994, the fun came to a crashing halt when the Northridge earthquake hit. It was a blow from which the malls have yet to recover 17 years later. Pretty much most of Los Angeles has recovered, but in many ways, the Valley and Laurel Plaza malls are the final remaining victim. Come back for part 2 of the history of the Valley and Laurel Plazas, what they were, what they are, and what they could be.